Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. Woo! Mike, today we're gonna make probably some people just as angry as they were about us. Can you believe it, Mike? We suggested Verona should be on the first line. We're gonna make people angry again in this episode, I imagine, with some hot takes. I think some of the more fiery conversations, Mike, that have been happening, I don't know, for the last 10 years online, sometimes have to deal with their favorite players, a person's favorite player being honored to how they feel they should be honored properly. And it just gets everybody really butthurt, and sometimes they're just not happy when their favorite player hasn't been honored in a special way. So we're gonna honor that conversation by giving some hot takes on how we feel. Does that sound like fun, everyone? Yeah.
Matt, were you saying booty? Wait, I screwed it up already. You said butthurt. I was gonna say booty ouch, but we'll just continue with some booty ouches. As far as Matt opinions that might get some molars grinding in Detroit, I've decided that if I had a Rookie of the Year vote, I'm giving it to Zegras.
Oh, well, there you go. This is a good way to start this.
Sorry. Is this based on two highlights over the course of a whole season? Yes, it is. Do I feel bad admitting that? No, I do not. This league needs an enema more than any other league that is nationally broadcast for the United States. Oh my God. Look at this move! Not only is it blindfolded, probably not actually blindfolded, but my God, look at this. Matt,
putting on a show.
I don't want the NHL to hire another former player ever again. The next name that they hire should be Kim Kardashian. Do you know why? They need to make this the most viral thing since Sneezing Panda, because that was the most amazing. Look at that. That was the most amazing shootout goal I've ever seen. And I've played video games and I've watched fictionalized hockey in the Mighty Ducks. I've never seen something so cool.
Now, for podcast listeners, what Mike's referring to is Trevor Zegras, and of course, his blindfolded goal.
His blindfolded spinorama, stop on a dime. He inverts his stick in a way that I just almost don't even want to describe it. It's just poetry in motion here. Apologies to Jeff Hardy.
And he's doing the average Joe's look here from Dodgeball, so there's also balls being thrown at Trevor too.
Yeah, there's a bit of a ballerina like full-on spin where he keeps the control of the puck with seemingly one hand. It's gorgeous. And the point of giving him Rookie of the Year, obviously we have Seider, obviously we have Raymond, so we kind of have a personal interest in who wins this award this year. But my God, if we want to start promoting this league, and I know that they have it on TNT now, I know they're back on ESPN, but if you want to actually get people talking, I think Zegras could easily be visually, player-wise, a guy to be a focal point of this league, especially being so young, so skilled, so creative. We desperately, as NHL fans, I think it's important to award this guy with something, even if probably Seider deserves it a little bit more. I think it's vital to the popularity of this league to make Zegras go as viral as possible. And that's where I think Kim Kardashian come in, who turned one, nice afternoon between two adults into a, major business venture. Clothes, jewelry, perfume, mobile games, incredible businesswoman. And all it took was one viral video. And I think she could do the same for Zegras. Matt, that's who I would hire at the top of the NHL. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me we shouldn't hire Kim Kardashian.
Well, look, here's the problem, Mike, is that you're telling me that this video exists just this play, and that you should only focus on one guy. And that's another problem the NHL has. So what you need to do is recognize that he's good.
I disagree.
Right?
The problem is that they're doing this like WWE, right? And the NHL still will talk about Ovechkin and Sid the Kid, and that's their Brock Lesnar, that's their Goldberg. They need young guys today.
No, and
we already got music out.
If there's
music at the All-Star game,
entertainment that they should copy. It's the one that we refuse to watch anymore.
Yeah, we're not watching it. That's part of the problem is they keep going to the well. And I mean, musically, you can see that there's an interest for them to put Machine Gun Kelly. But I feel like if you feel that kind of musical artist is that relevant to be there for Vegas, I would also have a player that new to the game, and kind of hitch a wagon to him and see where you can go. So, Matt, I'm pushing back. It's not that it's one player. It's that you have an incredible marketing opportunity and you need to just ride that horse, into the dirt. Go. Let's see where we can go, Zegras.
Well, so this is where I was going with that is that you can sell that and also not give him the Calder Trophy and try and spread it so that you're saying there's a whole new generation of players that you have to tune into. If you focus on one guy, you're talking about turning this into like John Cena, and then you only have John Cena to sell. Then what happens? You got to do it generationally.
If we just let this go,
this is the new NHL. We heard your point, Mike. We heard your point. You love Trevor, but no, there's multiple layers to this. There's levels. If you focus on one layer and level, you're really limiting yourself when there's an opportunity to sell multiple stars here. And that's what I think they've done. But
nobody knows any of the stars. Nobody knows any of these stars unless you're an NHL fan.
So we got to get these names out there. The solution isn't focusing on one guy.
We got to create stars. I can't say we're going to create 45 different stars right now. I'm saying right now we have a shooting star flying across the sky. And I don't want you to also see, well, there's also kind of a cool constellation over there. And if you're really into like Corsi stats, there's also a Corsi constellation. No, look at that shooting star right there. Everybody should be talking about that across every social media platform. Matt, I don't want to be pragmatic and, well, we got every team's great and there's a lot of interesting players on every team.
I'm not talking about true. Saying every team.
You're already worried about it turning into John Cena and it's only one guy. That's not the entire story here, Matt, but this guy right now is a story. So I think if you want to start selling this new NHL, this is a spot where we can, obviously we want to follow Ovechkin's, historical rise through most goals in NHL history. Of course, everybody likes hating Crosby. And as far as your Cena comparison goes, I think he's the Cena. But man, we need some new young stars. And we don't just want to see, some defensive mastery from a forward, a good two-way guy. Yes, that's interesting when you're trying to win a Stanley Cup, but to get some sizzle out there, to get the people talking about this league, man, Zegras, just give him the Rookie of the Year. This is like giving him like an early title shot. This is like giving him an Intercontinental Championship belt. And I'm not going to come off this hill, man.
That's fine. I just think you'd really be missing the mark here, just saying like there's only one guy to focus on right now.
We're not saying there's only one. That's your problem. That's you saying that. I'm saying right now he is the star, and you should start marketing him as such.
Yeah, and I think they are. I'm not even saying that making him Calder winner is like the wrong move, because I think he's doing enough right now, like from a media perspective, to make sure that gets done. But I'm just saying there's multiple routes to doing this, and I think it could be a huge misstep is just to take a couple of other huge names that are playing pretty well right now in Detroit and ignoring those. Now, to your point, focusing on a guy.
I feel like you are making up my narrative, though. I'm not saying that you can't talk about other people, but I'm saying that right now, the attention span of somebody is incredibly difficult to keep hold of. There's so many different things you could be focusing on at all times, including this show. If the NHL is going to get your attention in the, present window here, we'll give him a couple weeks, right? This guy should be all over the map.
Yeah, sorry, we're getting suggestions for a retired number, so I'm putting together somebody's suggestion. No, and I again, like I said, it's not going to be the wrong move to make him the Calder winner. It's one of those things, maybe to your point, that the attention span is short. So if he keeps doing stuff like this, cool. If somebody else does something like this, then maybe the argument would have to change. So there's definitely a major shift in how content is consumed. I mean, today we're going to talk about retired numbers, and we're not the first podcast, we're not the first blog to talk about it, but we just thought we'd get some attention right now. Why not? Because we're going to steal some attention from Mr. Sean McIndoe, who ranked all of the NHL franchises and their ability to retire numbers, and is it the correct way to do it? So we'll come to that in a second. But I would say, for argument's sake, like if there was a more important reason to focus on Zegras, is probably because he's on the West Coast, and that has always been a failing of the NHL, that they don't do enough focus on West Coast. And then, like, when you take a look at ratings, and when those games pop up, ratings go down. So if you make a marquee guy out there, and what a huge I don't know, misstep it's been, because you also have Connor McDavid out there, Leon Draisaitl, and they still can't get people to watch them. So yeah, you're right. They need to start focusing more on the player side. I think from my perspective, it was just there's multiple ways to do it, and I think, yeah, if you give Zegras the Calder, that'll put us in the right direction. You're still angry.
I'm not angry. This if you're going to like California, it's all about the there's a Showtime Lakers. There was the Clippers are finally a big deal because they were getting the stars. So it wasn't that anybody loved that team so much. It was that they acquired big name players. So I feel like if we could somehow start treating it like, hey, there's some real players out here, Zegras especially right now, that's kind of how you're going to have to get people's attention, because it always feels like hockey's more of a team game than an individual, which is fine, but you're right. Like, your argument is correct. I would just say that there's probably multiple ways to go about it. So I'm saying that you could still focus on the players and throw that Calder somewhere else. Because he's already got his cool thing, right? Like, you say, this is our gift man. And then when you're talking about, let's sell like the all-around hockey player right now. Who's the guy that's playing great defense, great offense, skating well? And you could show, you show Cider every now and then. Maybe you got to teach the masses like what is good hockey, and not just focus on, a cute little play while there's no defense out there and he's wearing a blindfold. I feel like that's hockey's problem right there, is that opinion, though. Because I feel like it's always, we got to educate you. And if it's something super impressive, it should be something you can easily like digest in a second.
But isn't that like when he did the pass over the net for the goal? Like, that is amazing. It's in game, and he found a new way to score. I just, I think he did the right thing to market himself. If this was how he was going to win the Calder, he did take the best next step.
I don't know. I always feel like the NHL is always, war and peace. The great war epic of our time. I wouldn't necessarily, pull a quote out of that book, but my God, what a war epic. And it's like, yeah, I know, but I got to get like through, 1,200 pages, but if it was something short and digestible, I don't think that the marketing approach should be, let's educate.
Well, that's not, see, I'm going to push back again, because it's like, that is a huge aspect of marketing.
You don't need a hockey education on Fenwick stats to appreciate what that kid did at the All-Star game.
But that's the thing. It's like the NHL doesn't even care about Fenwick stats, so that's not even an accurate statement. Like the NHL might even
I know,
do
but
well
you
to
just
lean
said
into
that we could show a
analytics.
guy skating hard, and
No,
wow, what a highlight that was.
they could lean into the fact that
Look
we
at the
have,
hip turn on Seider as he makes this wise defensive play. And I'm
yeah.
again not saying that it's not an important thing to winning a Stanley Cup, but we're talking about marketing this league, and hip pivots are not going to make people watch a regular season hockey game. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but we don't even talk about hip pivots. Like you're trying to like
I'm trying to exaggerate to
grind
make a
this
point,
down
man.
into
That's how it
something
works
that
here.
is boring, but you're taking it way far off when you have an opportunity to
Look at
talk
this
about.
skate stride. Look at the skate stride by Seider. It only takes him 2 to 3
Yeah,
drives on his left foot to really get going. So this really upper echelon talent. Like, oh yeah, I see it. Okay, cool. But did you see the Zegras goal? Holy shit, that was amazing. You don't need anything for that.
well, you also don't want to like misrepresent your sport, right? Like you don't want to tell the kids like, oh, you're gonna tune in.
Listen,
and
guys.
Zegras
This
gonna
is
come out
not
there
representative of
blindfolded.
hockey. It's not usually this fun. Okay, usually there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of ebb and flow. Right, you're just getting in the other guy's head. Just trying to forecheck and
If we all
do a good dump and
had a
drive, and then
conversation
get a good
about
line change
what
out there.
does the NHL do wrong, everyone's gonna say marketing. We know that. I think we could cool our jets and go, hey, that was a heck of an all-star game moment. We finally have an all-star game moment. Now we can start to tell people this kind of thing might happen next year. But
Yeah.
this isn't like the be all end all. You gotta focus on like when the game's happening. I don't know. I think educating your future fans is fine. There's a lot of things I'm gonna disagree with you on, but like performance art. What's up, my man? I skipped all of your hellos. You put in howdy a little while
Hey,
ago.
performance art.
But yeah, the NHL needs a new marketing strategy. The current one sucks because you're not bringing in
Performance
any new
art. Tell
fans
me I'm
with what
wrong
you're
about
currently
bringing
doing.
in Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, you're dead wrong.
Whoa! What are you talking about? She's a media mogul, man. Everything she does is super popular. Everything she does.
I think that they need to get away from bringing in like hockey players to run the league. I absolutely agree with you.
That's what I said.
But we don't need. No, you said Kim Kardashian. We don't need Kim Kardashian in there.
I'm getting away from hockey players, and then I'm getting maybe the most popular person ever. If she does things, the internet breaks.
I'm like, performance art's with you. He says if you start to educate, you lose a massive portion of the population. It's sad but true. So,
Man, you're getting like real like wrestling heat by saying I'm gonna teach you how to appreciate this. Boo!
no.
Boo! People don't.
Like then you're not. I don't know. I think you're getting into this. We're getting into this idea of like. So we're not talking about making fans. We're talking about getting viewers, right? Which is a completely different thing. Is that what we want to focus on? Because you can get we could start to pivot to getting Super Bowl numbers because then it's not even about watching football. You're just getting a group of people to sit in a room and consume ads. If that's what we really care about as hockey fans, then yeah, let's start having that conversation. Let's dumb down whatever
we
we're
sell
delivering.
ads regardless. If you're trying to sell me Mo Seider's hip pivots
like I said,
versus Zegras' goals,
we want to sell ads.
What I don't want is you're suggesting we should get an NHL Duolingo or an NHL Babble. Like, oh, we're going to teach you the language of hockey so you can finally understand why hip pivot's so important. Like, oh, I can't wait to do homework. Yay!
Let's focus on. I can't tell you any time I've ever heard hip pivot ever. Besides today.
You know what? Some of us just study hockey a little bit more than others. So I'm glad I could teach you hip pivots, man.
I'm glad you're here. Oh my God.
I think performance art is kind of on my side, though. I don't know if he's ready to.
He's 100% on your side.
I don't know if he's ready to hire Kim Kardashian, but you know what? I'm ready.
All right, that's fine. Something needs to change. I'll tell you guys that from a marketing perspective, educating your potential audience is never a bad thing. I think focusing on that being a negative is insane to me. You two, you guys are both crazy. Like that's been a key to marketing since things started to be sold. You've always needed to educate your audience. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No, I think the problem is it's not that you're educating them. You're teaching them what's important. So like education, when you say that, it sounds like when you get a Galaxy phone and it's like totally customizable and you're like, oh,
I think
where do I begin? But with an iPhone, you just go, I want it to look like kitties, and then everything looks like kitties. So you don't need any education. You don't need any kind of. You don't even need to open the manual. You just say kitties, and then your phone turns into kitties. That's what I'm talking about, Matt.
I gotcha, but like, what do you mean with like any other sport? You just say like all of a sudden people are going to start tuning in to. Like, you don't just start tuning into football. Like you have been educated to some extent. Either that, or you're not really a fan of football. You're just somebody who's around viewing it. I think that's a key aspect to this conversation.
I think that I wouldn't use the word educate because it sounds condescending.
God, I don't. Is it really? Hey, do you want to watch hockey? What's that? Let me
give you some homework. Yeah.
Why does it have to be homework? You're so insane. Oh my God. All right. God damn it. What else did we have? Dylan Larkin wore these. Who cares? We're gonna play the Flyers.
Can you go back real sec?
Yeah.
One sec.
We're
sent
talking about Dylan Larkin and his sunglasses. It actually was pretty cool. I think I might have it queued up somewhere. But yeah, Mike, what are your thoughts here?
Finally, hockey's cool.
I hate you so much right
now. Is this a downloadable patch for the NHL video game? Can you give all your players sunglasses?
I want to now.
I'm just saying, when I crank up the NBA video game, it's the Year of the Tiger. Is it the Chinese New Year? So all your players now can have big old tigers draped around them.
Well, it's a Lunar New Year.
There you go. Thank you.
So the story behind this is Larkin actually stole the New Jersey Devils sunglasses, and oh boy, and this is just him cruising around. I thought this was pretty neat. Number one, because he stole it from the New Jersey Devils, but you get to see what it looks like to carry the puck as Dylan Larkin. Mike, I want to talk about marketing. Would you go for like an option to see this while like you could click a button and say, all right, I'm done watching the regular broadcast. I want to see Dylan Larkin carry the puck for a second.
Oh, hell yeah, I would.
Thank
looks
you.
awesome.
All right. See, there's something we can agree on.
Did you ever I'm just going to do one quick aside among many today. David Cross did this joke where he was at a adult like product store and he bought a one of those like the GIMP masks from like Pulp Fiction, you know, like a S&M scene. And he's like, oh, I'm going to have this hilarious idea. I'm going to get on an airplane and I'm going to put that on and just wear it like most of the flight. And then when the stewardess comes up to me and she's like, sir, can you take that off? And he goes, do you mind? It's my sleep mask. But the problem was he went through the whole flight and nobody said a peep to him. So he was just the asshole who wore the mask for a full 4-hour flight. And I just felt bad watching that clip because only one person smiled at Larkin and everybody else just kept going about their business.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the Devils did, and they tweeted about it. So at least he got some coverage there.
Oh, good.
All right. Where are we? Next thing, Red Wings have coming up this week, 2 straight games against Philly. And when we always talk about a 500 team's going to 500, Mike, we got a stink ball of a franchise 2 games in a row. Well, I think we're a game under .500 when it comes to points percentage. So we've got an opportunity here, Mike, to take 2 games in a row against a real bag of crap and get back over 500.
Somewhere there's a Philly Flyers rant where they're like, we got 2 games against a big old bag of crap, and we're going to even our record out a little bit. Man, I will say that for both franchises, we're both going to be just a little bittersweet, a little disappointed, a little excited, because that's what 500 teams do. They tease you, and then they just, leave you hanging. So we'll probably win one of those 2 games. Is my prediction.
Now, Performance Art wants to know if we think Giroux's going anywhere. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, what's... I'll pull up. This is all I've ever heard is that he is on the move. So, yeah, I mean, this will be a UFA going into the offseason. I don't know. It's tough to say too, because you're talking about which one of these teams that has a major injury are they going to be the ones making the play? I don't know. It makes sense. It's just probably up to Philly at this point, and he's got a no move clause, so he's got all the cards in his hand, so he'll be able to pick which team he wants to go to. But it makes sense for Claude. It makes sense for Philly. They only have when you take a look at their next 3 years of draft picks. They're short second round picks for the next 2 years. So they're a turd ball. And they've only got 6 picks going into next season and 6 picks into 2023. So they're going to need to start collecting stuff. They have a few different options to move some guys. So they're going to be bringing in some picks coming up this year. But I think it just comes down to, does Claude want to move? Is it one of those things where he wants to just finish out in Philly? Is he have that close of a connection? So yeah, all those things are going to come into play. I could tell you, he ain't coming here, not with a no move clause. So there's that for you. But definitely, should he? Absolutely, it makes sense for Claude. It makes sense for Philly. Why waste another year doing nothing, and why should Philly not increase how many picks they've got going out?
Yeah, I mean, there's not even a slim to none, like a none to none chance of us trading for him. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, it'd be great for Philly. They would say yes to a trade. We would have to probably say no. But man, in the off season, if you get like a hot draft and you talk him into coming here, is there any window? Because as far as like sexy cap hits go, we have tons of room. I mean, we could afford a 35-year-old, guy we'd ask him to play center, because that's where we, have the most issues on this team and in our minor league system.
That.
Yeah. I mean, if he was just going to do like a 1 or 2 year deal, we could afford to do that while we wait for some more prospects to kind of churn their way through the system and, be competent up at the show. But yes, if he ends up getting traded somewhere, I haven't crunched the numbers yet. I just know that he's probably not going to Tampa Bay, because I think this year, they're out of salary cap miracles. I think they're out of them.
You're asking Philly to hold on to a big chunk. They're probably doing one of those 50%ers, or you move Claude through a Detroit Red Wings. Red Wings get paid to take on some of that cash, and then by the time he hits Tampa, he's next to nothing. So there's always those moves, which I think are crazy, and soon they'll be outlawed. But right now, the Red Wings can take advantage of it. So maybe he'll be a Red Wing for a half a second before we trade him away again and eat some of that salary cap. Actually, you know what? I don't even know if we have that ability, because I know, who did we help move? I can't remember who the player was that we were helping move through our system. But
the defenseman for and ended up in Tampa.
I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, Claude Giroux right now, if we go back to Jay Fresh's numbers, he's a 94%, even at what, he's 34 right now. Yeah, I don't know if that really hurts to put him in your lineup in any way. And I don't mean now for the Wingdings, but yeah, coming up in the UFA season, maybe that's an option. But yeah, I'd say I'd just leave it at that. I haven't done too much digging in Claude Giroux. We know that he's been a staple in the NHL for quite a while, and his numbers still suggest he's not going anywhere. So, yeah, that's the extent. Without me looking at Giroux for
was it
half
Savard?
a second before right now, that's the extent of my thoughts, huh?
David Savard. That was the guy we retained salary and we got a draft pick, and then we sent him back to Tampa.
That does nothing for my brain.
Oh yeah, he's one of Tampa's acquisitions at the deadline.
That didn't ring a bell. Even
Columbus got like a couple picks. We got a 4th round pick, and we ate some salary, and then Tampa got Savard and Lashoff.
Well, there we go. All right, where are we going next, Mike? You want to start doing topic of the show?
Yeah, I mean, I had a blast making you upset about Kim Kardashian, but we can definitely do our big topic.
You want to get back into that? Performance Art had one more thought where he did come back and say, of course, education comes into it, but you got to get them hooked with entertainment. And I think that's a deeper conversation on the rules of the game and letting up there before we say that, Zegras is the key to selling entertainment. I don't know. I've thought about it a lot. Okay. I've done full class projects on how to fix the NHL. So the last thing I want to do is say that gift saves the NHL. So I'm gatekeeping the idea of how to change marketing in the NHL. And I won't allow you to fix it with one GIF, okay? So get out of here.
I don't know what your degree costs, but that GIF took me 5 seconds.
All right.
Of both my time and my money.
No.
That's how much it costs.
Nope. No, you're done. You're done, mister. I'm gatekeeping this conversation. You're done. All right. Mike, here's our list. What's funny is you can't get a goddamn picture out of Little Caesars Arena with everybody in there. For everybody watching on YouTube, pretty much what I'm just highlighting here is everybody we have retired at this point. Kelly, Lidstrom, Yzerman, Abel, Sawchuk, Delvecchio, Lindsay, and some guy named Gordie Howe. So what we wanted to play today, and it's actually based off of an article that came out from Down Goes Brown or Sean McIndoe, however you guys know him best. Why don't we pull that up so everybody can see on YouTube? He went through and ranked every franchise. How do their retired numbers stack up? But he wasn't just saying if you take all your retired players and put them on the ice, are they going to win a hockey game? He actually went a little in depth. And so out of 32, Mike, have you seen this? Have you seen this?
Have you seen this?
Do you want to take a stab at where we're
ranked? You're doing your Jay Leno right now?
No, it's my Jay Leno. Do you want to take a stab at where we're ranked in Sean McIndoe's 32 retired team Vladdy Blahs?
I'm going to say we're above the Kraken and probably Las Vegas. Matt, give me number 7.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Mike, we are number 26.
Oh, no!
Sean McIndoe, Down Goes Brown.
Forgot to add a 2 in front of my guess. Damn. Are we above the Kraken and Las Vegas?
Let's see. We're better than the St. Louis Blues, the Washington Capitals, the Minnesota Wild, the Calgary Flames, the Florida Panthers.
Oh,
and
no.
Number 32, the Seattle Kraken.
We're worse than Vegas? Oh, no. What a bummer. All right, Matt, let's see this explanation here. Bring it up for us.
And like this, let me just throw this out there. Seattle Kraken are number 32 because Sean McIndoe is upset that Seattle retired the number 32. So his argument is like that should have never happened. So it's not just because they don't have anybody retired. It's because of they do have a number retired, and it was a very weird choice. Okay. So we'll go through this. Maybe I'll just have to read this from top to bottom, but
will you do one favor for me?
Yeah.
Before you do the Red Wings one, can you just show me who number 1 is so we have some context?
Yeah, do you want? Yeah, let's roll through this. 25 Arizona, Rangers, Blue Jackets. We're counting down. Carolina Hurricanes, Winnipeg Jets. Vegas is number 20, Mike, so we didn't beat Vegas.
Whoa. What? They retired number 58 for, oh my gosh, for the victims of that stupid sniper shooting? Jesus.
That's different than the,
Yeah,
Seattle
you can't really
Bears.
object
I think
there.
Vegas makes sense. That
that's
changed the whole franchise, and it was something that, pushed them into the that long run into the playoffs too. You could make the argument. Ottawa, Vancouver, number 18, the Flyers, 17, Blackhawks, 16, Avalanche, Penguins at number 14, Sabres, Devils, Oilers, Leafs, Sharks, New York Islanders, number 8. I don't know why I threw in. I'm just randomly deciding to read full names and numbers here. Tampa Bay, number 7. Dallas, 6. Bruins, number 5. Number 4, Nashville Predators. Number 3, Montreal Canadiens. Number 2, Anaheim Ducks. And number 1, the Los Angeles Kings.
Well, I guess the argument, just before we go into the Red Wings, it just says for the Kings, 6 names, all of them worthy, 5 Hall of Famers, then a guy who played for the team for 17 years. And you got Rob Blake, Marcel Dion, Dave Taylor, Luc Robitaille. Is it Roger Vachon? And then 99, of course, for Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. And he says here, there's nobody that should be on this list, which is
there's no omissions.
The Kings rank number 1. And that's kind of what you see here, moving back up the list. It is worth noting, too, that his favorite team, McIndoe, and it's well known in his circles, is the Maple Leafs. So at least they're not number 1. So we know he's not completely, I don't know. What do you want to say there? He's not just making this up to make his.
Yeah, it's not just a homer call, giving them number 1 or 2 or something.
I would say, arguably, running through this too, we probably have the largest explanation,
and I think it deserves it too, because there's a lot of plates being juggled. But Matt, take it away here.
Yeah, he starts off by recognizing it, right? This is probably a lot lower than you expected. The Wings are one of the teams that only retires the numbers of players who are in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he goes on to say that's dumb. We already have an honor for players who've been inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's called being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Mike, if you have not read or have subscribed to, all of Down Goes Brown's articles, I highly recommend it because he is very, very good at writing. You're allowed to use your retired numbers to widen the scope a bit when it comes to recognizing a guy who's been important to your franchise. For example, I don't think Chris Osgood is Hockey Hall of Fame worthy, but should he have his number retired in Detroit, where he won 3 Stanley Cups? Sean says, of course. So should Vladdy Konstantinov, whose number is listed as honored, but not retired. Very good one there, too. You've got Larry Ori, whose number 6 was the first to be retired in franchise history, then was unretired, then was re-retired, and then for some reason was unretired again, yet still remains out of circulation. It's kind of a mess. And then he says, finishes this off, don't even get me started on Sir Federov. All right. Mike, I just realized I omitted one of the names that I did want to talk about from our slideshow. So what are your initial thoughts on all of this? And everybody, you can throw in the chat, who you want to see get retired, who should be next in the rafters. But you guys are listening to this after the live recording. Just keep throwing it in there and we can actually put a poll together and come back to that on the next episode. But Mike, where's your head at?
I'm definitely going to be subscribing now to that writer. What was his first name?
Sean McIndoe. Also can find him on Twitter as Down Goes Brown.
All right. Yeah, I think he's right in that there's a lot of weird, like Detroit connection. Feels like no-brainers of people who should be up there. I mean, we're going to give a few minutes to the Fedorov talk, but like Osgood, I mean, the guy's like a Detroit Red Wing legend, right? I mean, like he's always hotly debated. Was he even any good? And it's like, well, I mean, he was the Stanley Cup goaltender. You know, he did win it 3 times. I think what you would say, to be devil's advocate, to be on the Red Wings side, I don't think that it should matter if you're in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But they're such a storied franchise with so many like excellent players, you know, living legends. I think that they tried to say, well, we gotta draw the line somewhere, because otherwise, a lot of these guys are gonna start having to have triple-digit jersey numbers because we're going to be retiring so many people. But with that said, there's like no excuse for, you know, like the Datsyuks and the Zetterbergs, Osgoods, the Konstantinovs. Those are all names that should be up there that are not. So if this compiled list is all about, you know, you have a crappier rank because you are omitting people who should be up there, or maybe the people in there are not quite deserving. And he name dropped somebody that, unless you're like a super duper hardcore Red Wing fan, you probably don't know too much about. I think the omissions do drop the Red Wings rank, because I think you could easily make the case for 3 or 4 pretty big names. Datsyuk, Zetterberg, Ozzy, and probably Fedorov.
Yeah, probably. There. I mean, to extend this conversation, I mean, I will do this, Mike. I have these guys ranked on who I think. I think the folks like the easiest of the conversations. That's how I have this ranked. Okay. So I guess where to start here, and I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? I got to reorder these for one more second before we go live with this conversation. That doesn't mean that it is without question when we pull these guys up. I'm just guessing that the conversation or the argument would be easier to go between once we like finally start. Now, I did put in the notes here, Mike. I had a couple of questions. Like Down Goes Brown, Sean McIndoe brings up, you know, how do you define names that should be retired? So I thought we could jump into that just for a second and kind of put a stamp on it. And I will say, to start this conversation, Mike, when I was younger, believe it or not, younger, I had an argument at one of our Christmases that Sergei Fedorov's number should never be retired. And I was very adamant. When I was a kid, I was like, no, he hurt us. That name does not belong in the Joe Louis raft. And keep in mind, this is like 12-year-old Matt. Same.
How
voice,
wrong you were,
actually.
man. How wrong you were.
Same voice. Same.
Hasn't changed an iota.
That name should never. Everybody just tossed their headphones to the side of the road. And I bring this up to kind of give like how should this be defined? Because at the time I was thinking more along the lines of the Red Wings, and like you mentioned, like, do we want to just have every name up there? Because what are we going to do after that? Like, do we extend it all the way to the Drapes?
What are you going to do? Be the Pistons, right, who are on their way to retiring every single person who played for the 04 championship team? Lindsay Hunter's draft, his jersey's going up there any year now. I can feel it.
So I gotta say, back then my idea of like what your numbers were what you had to be Yzerman, you had to be Lidstrom, you had to be there forever. And then you start doing research and realize how many of these guys were not Red Wings forever, that already had their numbers retired and left and went and did something else. I mean, it is kind of funny, like once you start to look at this stuff and you see like Sawchuk, and we, you know, what was it, 2 years ago, we were doing a full episode based on that movie, and you see that he was moved by the Red Wings decision, maybe a bad one at the time, kind of ruined him as a person, and now his numbers retired. Maybe it's like oh, whoops, We caused you quite a bit of pain when we wouldn't just let you be the starting goaltender, and we like dragged you along. So now your numbers retired, and by I bring that up because how fair is it to hold like that sort of card to play when you have been a POS franchise at certain times, and then you can just go, whoops, hey, whoopsies, we'll put you in the rafters. So to that end, when I started to learn more about this franchise, and it wasn't just the Sawchuk stuff, but learning a little bit more about like how this franchise operates, and it's not necessarily just now, but I mean there's been some pretty crappy decisions even recently that we've seen, and we don't need to get into it. I mean, we could look at what's been going on downtown and how maybe the city of Detroit wasn't so ready to be revitalized and to pay for it. But here we are. And again, we're not going to get into that. I'm just throwing that out there as an example. And I don't care where you sit or stand. But to that end, why should I look at the Red Wings rafters and say, you know what? If the Red Wings don't want to put anybody up there, good for them. Because sometimes, can I say it, Mike? Can I say it? Because it's not about the guys wearing the jersey. It's not about the players. It's not about the coaches. It's not about Stevie as a GM. But when you take that next step up, there's been some decisions where they've said F you to you. So maybe once in a while, we're allowed to say F you to them. There we go. All right. So to that end, defining who should be in the rafters should be up to the fans. I think where I used to say, and to our shared father, I almost said to my dad, Mike, to our father,
Yeah.
art in Dearborn.
Yeah.
I used to say if there was ever a question on whether or not somebody should be in the Hall of Fame, they shouldn't be in it. It should be for sure for everyone. When you look at Steve Yzerman, you said Hall of Famer. Put him in. And at this point, I've decided that to a degree, because the last thing I want is to see Darren McCarty's number up there. But if you can make
multiple Stanley Cup winner,
right? If you can make a solid argument and make it about a player's dominance, and most of the fans are on board, I say you put them up there. That's how I'm defining it. And now, Mike, while you are thinking about what I just said, I'm going to kind of look at some of our comments here because we've got a lot, and we've got to start sharing.
They're coming in hot, huh?
All right. Silver 3344. Fedorov can have his number retired when he comes back as a coach. Woohoo!
Woo!
Oh, there's a hot take.
Can I request one thing? Maybe not necessarily head coach, but maybe the power play. Woo!
Derek Hand 91. Sam putting out there an unexpected BOD for the win. All right. Does that mean you expected us to get this incorrect? Is how I'm reading that, Mike. Usually you can put me on the right path. Is that what Sam's saying here?
I think he has typed yes, unexpected. He unexpectedly typed yes, and then BOD for the win. So I think there's just a couple ideas going on in that statement there.
Silver puts out there, the teenager in me is still wounded by him leaving us. I was at the game and I booed. And I agree too. Like that's kind of where I think my thought process was. Sam throws out there still stings a bit. Tristan Fowler, didn't he just want a little more cash? Would have been cool to see him on the 08 team. To Tristan's point, yeah, the man was trying to get paid both times that he was, held out on us and then left. Guy's trying to get paid. What did we learn from the Joker, Mike? You do something good, you should get paid for it. That's something to actually live by. I think if there's one lesson out of the Batman movies, you should actually.
This was a long time ago. My God, was it like 20ish years ago? Before the player empowerment era, where you can kind of force your way out of town if you're grumpy enough. But you know what? why should you have to suffer through like crappy ownership or like a coach who's a jerk, or maybe you don't like the vibe of your teammates? I'm not saying that you should, every single time, no, I want to get immediately traded to the team I want to play for. I don't care what happens. But I mean, if you sign a contract, you're kind of agreeing to play. But you should have some control of your life, and you shouldn't be like, lambasted because you dared to speak up for yourself and say, this town sucks. I want to go play for the Red Wings. So yeah, I'm glad that we've evolved to that point where we kind of understand that these are human beings. Lest we forget that we literally use the word draft. So, I mean, you're not given any choice. So you just uproot your life and you go play for this other city. So, I mean, obviously, a lot of context, right? They get paid tons of money, but I like that we have this awareness now. And kind of going back in time in a player empowerment era, you look at the Red Wings like, really, we're going to cheapskate this guy who, yeah, he did have one season where he kind of had some boo-boos, but we're not going to pay Fedorov, really? I think what I want to do is the point of yours that I like the most, that I want to like probably harp on, is that the people in the rafters, it should be about the fans. So, like fan interest for a guy. Because obviously they're the ones who even give a shit. It's not like the owners really are like, good thing we got, player X up there because, man, he really shaved our bacon. It was like, no, it was the fans who you tricked into buying tickets to go to the game and buying jerseys and, matching hats and all that stuff. They kept the stadium open. But yeah, it's, I'm going to go back. It's another wrestling analogy, right? Where we don't really know who should be in a wrestling Hall of Fame because all the outcomes are predetermined. But that almost kind of makes the strongest case for it because we don't really care, like what Owen Hart's win-loss record was, right? But we do love the guy, and he was a, beloved wrestler, for fans, for, the wrestlers in the locker room. So obviously put him in the Hall of Fame because he was a great human being. His family's doing great stuff in his name. I think in that same vein, you could sell the narrative that, I mean, Osgood, I know we kind of loved him and we loved to hate him and we hated to love him, but man, he was here for some really successful times and he definitely had some games that, saved our bacon a few times. So if the fan interest is there to kind of throw his name up there, I think you can. I think this, for our show, for the Red Wings Rant, man, I think the scariest thing is to if you start accepting more fan input, you would almost certainly be getting McCarty's jersey in the rafters. And you know what? It's the fans' game. They're the ones who care about this team and, go to work and then use their hard-earned money to pay Xfinity so they can watch 82 regular season games, or, use their checks to drive out to Little Caesars Arena and pay for parking and pay for a $12 hot dog and a $24 beer and watch the team be kind of 500-ish and kind of okay. If those guys determine, you know what, McCarty helped build this town in 97 and 98, and, his motherfucking fists helped put this team at the top of the league, then what's to say he shouldn't be in the rafters? Because it should be more about what the fans are willing to like you're putting a moment in history up in the rafters. That's what that name means. It's that moment in history. And I think I know for our show we take it tongue in cheek because we had some adventures with the man, but it's not like it's opening the floodgates. It's that you're trying to grab that moment in time and you can look up and like be back in that moment when things were riding high for the franchise. And it wasn't just a pretty good regular season, or, we won a couple series in the playoffs. Those were Stanley Cup winning teams. So, maybe I'm making the case for Fedorov, and you're indirectly also making it for McCarty.
Damn it!
So I don't want to do that, but I'm saying The fan experience should be definitely taken into account, heavily weighted in who's up there, because they're the ones who even go to the stadium to look up and appreciate it.
And you put it more eloquently. I think that's what I was trying to come to, where I said, like sometimes the franchise says F you to you, so maybe you're allowed to say it to them. But really, it's more just about like we're the ones that are paying for this stuff to actually happen. So it should be more our decision than theirs. And it's not, it's sort of treated just as like a marketing ploy to get a sold out night and what have you. Where were we? Sam throws out there. I gotta answer this. I was happy to see live BOD.
Oh, hey, yeah, thanks, Sam. Yeah, we're glad to see you, man.
Derek thrown out there. How many people thought 91 was going up when they announced Red Kelly? I think that's when all this really heated up too. Curtis thrown out there. Fedorov and Datsyuk, easy. Yeah. If you put up 900 points for a franchise, you better get your number retired.
I know, it's like management is like, is there an objective number? Curtis Godfrey. Yeah, how about 900? And we're all on board with that. I like that a lot.
Well, that leaves Chris Osgood out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Sam comes back. Yep, retire both 91 and 13. Tristan for show. And Derek throws out there, is Pav shunned for leaving a year early? Is that sort of the same conversation as Sergei Federov, taking half a year off and leaving for another franchise? I would say it fits in the same bubble of conversation where I go, you know what? He was picking to go be with his family, and the Red Wings had him sign a contract where this was a possibility that it would hurt us. So
listen, Pavel, my man. Listen, it's either the Hall of Fame or your family. All right, we're putting it on the table.
Number in the rafters.
Or you're going up in the rafters. You get one or the other.
Pavel,
the Magic Man just dropped some dust and
said, "I'm out of here."
The Magic Man poofed right out of the room. Man, I want to get on. Yeah, we love Kurt. Yeah, Curtis, absolutely. Curtis dropping your Datsyuk, my favorite player. The Nazis name in the rafters. It isn't right. It is dumb. But I was going to throw in a caveat to what Curtis said with 900 points. All right, Curtis. That means Osgood isn't in. Curtis, any ideas for what we do with goalies? Curtis takes the floor and he says,
"Your decision."
He says, "How about any goalie who's got at least one goal and at least 10 assists?"
Well,
I think we're all unanimous. All right. Yep. Puts Osgood in. He's got a goal and 15 assists. There you go.
Sam, thrown in there, Mike. That hat trick. Darren McCarty.
Oh, I thought we were talking about a Datsyuk hat trick.
No.
Would you get a goal, assist, and a Datsyukian deke?
Okay, so here's what we've got coming up. Each one of these players, Mike, now that we've exhausted this conversation, we're actually at an hour now. I thought this would be a half-hour episode. Maybe we can run through
now
these
with the
a little
Hall
bit
of Fame.
Quicker.
Now with the jerseys and the rafters, man. This is the most hotly debated,
So let's do, because I think there's one name that hasn't been mentioned yet. I have in this list, and I might have to do a bit of a sell job on it.
Sell us on Franz Nielsen, man. Do it.
All right. Here's the thing, Mike. All right. Well, let's. Like I said, I ordered these in what I thought would be the easiest conversation, and I think this is honestly the easiest one. Vladdy Konstantinov. Where's your head at, Mike? Because this is somebody who, I mean, we know how it happened. So I'm not going to say like he gave his life or his playing years. Like he gave his playing years to the Red Wings. That's true. But it was an accident out of his hands. A horrible.
Yeah, we know that part. What do you? Yeah, get to the hockey part.
So all right. So we know what happened there. 175 points, 446 games for people that are on listening to the podcast. Mike, all rookie team, 91-92. Oh, you know what's funny too, Mike? Not a lot of people remember this. 1989 NHL draft. Drafted in the 11th round, same year as Sergei and Nick.
Oh.
95-96, he finishes 4th in Norris voting, 20th in Hart voting, and an All-Star. And then in 96-97, Mike, 2nd in Norris voting.
Yeah, I mean, this is he didn't have, like wow, explosive statistics. He had some really excellent years, but this is another narrative rafter choice where I don't think a single person. I would be stunned to find a single person who said, "Not on my watch." He didn't hit that 900-point threshold, and I don't see him lacing up at goaltender. So no, I'm not counting his goals. But yeah, this is a narrative one. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, this is the type of guy too. Like if the tragedy does not happen, where you have a drunk limo driver ruining his life. I mean, to talk about you had 2 Norris winners that would have just been going back to back competing for trophies. Probably, if his career doesn't get literally driven off the rails, Nick probably isn't as touted with all of he's not walking around with all of his Norris trophies because Vladdy would have taken some away. It was that type of career that we lost. So yeah, I mean, and to the extent that Vladdy, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to throw this to our people too, because you just pulled up his statistics, obviously, and it just has his like dimensions, and it says he's 5'11", 190. Is it just me, or are you guys surprised too? For some reason, the way he played, the way he was so violent, I always just in my head, it was 1997, so I was like, what, 9 years old? I just always like, wow, Konstantinov, what is he, like 6'6", 300 pounds? And it's just because he was such a punishing defenseman. I'm stunned to see he's 5'11", $190. So I'm just curious if I'm the only one with that thought.
I mean, yeah, like the 5'11" one is kind of like what? But yeah, I mean, he was the Vladinator, so it just seemed like he was running around as a movable brick wall. Sam threw out there. I assume 16 was up there. And it does go back to Sean McIndoe's article where he did recognize that it is honored. It's just not retired. Curtis throws out there, Konstantinov, no. But handing him the cup and keeping him close to our family is amazing. I will say, part of the reason you should retire Sergei Fedorov's numbers is attached to this. So we'll talk Sergei. We'll kind of blend these together. These two guys changed hockey. Vladdy and Sergei. Mike, they had to sneak them into America. These two guys made the choice to leave Russia for the Red Wings. And, to go back to the point of Vladdy's career getting ended early, if you could ask him now, what would he pick? I mean, I'm not going to answer for him right now, but I mean, like, this really changed his life. Forever. Clearly, it would have changed his life anyway, but think about like the decision if that didn't happen, that he chose to leave Russia to come over here, and he had no idea what the future was going to look like. Of course, now Sergei's coaching over in Russia, but they didn't know that. They took a risk for this team, for the city. To me, like, that is huge on its own. Like, that's a major story. That's a major movement in the franchise. And do you go as far as you do with all the Stanley Cups and get to tell everyone that, yeah, we're really good at scouting because we drafted Sergei Federov, who was rated higher than Wayne Gretzky at the time. We're so good at scouting. But, really, honestly, the Red Wings were just the team that took the risk to go over there and grab these guys. When they were already, labeled, rated highly. It was just, well, do you draft a guy from Russia? No, you got to send Keith Gave over there and sneak him back over. So with all that wrapped together, I think that counts for a lot more than we give it credit for. And I think that comes into play. So at least Curtis, to the extent of trying to continue the sell job here of Konstantinov, my man made a move that not many people had to make after. But he was forced into that decision. So I mean, forced into that Yeah, and not necessarily forced into that decision because he didn't have to come over, but he was in a place where it was harder to decide, and he chose to come over here. And he changed hockey forever. Him and Sergei, I would say, and I think that counts for a lot more. I think that might even be more reason for maybe even a higher honor than just getting your jersey retired. But it sounds like we're all on the same page with the next guy on this list, Mike. Sergei Federov. A lot less of a sell job I think we need to do here. Let me pull this up so I can actually see it on my screen a little bit bigger. You've already got, Hall of Famers. Sean McIndoe pointed out, seems to be a requirement for the Wingdings. 3-time Cup winner, all rookie team, 2-time Selke winner, your 93-94 Hart, and 93-94 Lester B. Pearson. What else do you need to say, right? Total for Detroit, 954 points in 900 games, 400 goals for the Wingdings. And of course, if you guys are looking at his career numbers, of course they go a little bit higher than that. But I mean, it's just, it never stopped. He just kept getting more points. He just kept getting more awards. And you know what, Mike? Good on him. He wanted to get paid for it. So, and part of the reason, it's not even about him like trying to get the most amount of money. It was him trying to get paid fairly, where the Red Wings just weren't ready to do that. And I would say this decision to like politicize it, if I may, for lack of a better word, into making it his fault, just kind of comes back into, so many different things. We learn more about every situation as we get older, and we're not children anymore. And we kind of go like, oh, the lady that burned herself with the McDonald's coffee cup, she wasn't an idiot. That coffee used to be 3 times as hot as it was supposed to be. But McDonald's, went ahead, turned it around and said, nope, she's a big idiot. And then we all went, what an idiot for burning herself. I mean, this is kind of that same situation. It's the older you get, the more you hear from Sergei's side, the less you hear the propaganda of him being a mean old rat trying to just steal more money. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, he was one of the best hockey players in the world when he left, and yeah, right, you should get paid for it.
Sorry, I thought
there's a ghost.
My siding's almost done, so one guy's probably gonna knock and make me look at all the garbage work they did, but I don't think they're quite done.
But we're Red Wings Rant if you need it.
What I was going to say is, like, with these guys who aren't in there, it sucks that it feels like most of the reason that they're not in is the political side, or that it is management kind of felt, that they got, gypped on something. Like, Datsyuk should be a no-brainer. That guy electrified the fans. Everybody. I mean, he was just universally beloved. And he was excellent at his job, and he was creative at it. So, I mean, he, inspired so many. Like we talked about Zegras, not a Red Wing, of course, but like that kind of like the Datsyuk and Deke. I mean, that's like in the lexicon of of hockey.
And a 4-time Lady Byng winner. I'm sorry.
But for me, I would not be surprised if he never had his number up in the rafters, because he dared to go back home. I mean, he gave this team everything.
14 years.
He gave this team everything that he had. And, much like Fedorov, they probably don't like that he dared to ask for more money. So they're just never going to do it for either of those guys. So it's...
Yeah, and this takes me out of order a little bit because Datsyuk wasn't next on my list. You got to figure there's some other issues that are popping up, that are more recent. So some of us are... some of us aren't even aware. I see some people that tweet out about Retire 91, and they aren't even aware of like how I was told to be hurt, and so they don't understand why some people will never forgive Fedorov for that.
Yeah.
And of course, some of those people we know, Mike, and we just need to we need to educate sometimes so that everybody can understand. But this is another one that probably hurts some folks that he left, and they don't understand why. But I just think he's too good. Mike, I have, besides this Lucas Raymond jersey I'm wearing, I have 2 other Red Wings jerseys, and they are both Pavel Datsyuk. I had my Pavel Datsyuk shrine for years until I moved to this house, and it was destroyed in the move. That's not me. That was me crying. Yeah, I was choking a little bit, but it's probably because I had to think about my shrine being destroyed. Bobblehead, multiple signatures, a poster, all gone. And I'm heartbroken. But yeah, I mean, Pavel's my favorite hockey player of all time.
He checks all the boxes. Curtis's 900 points. He had postseason success. He had championships. He had longevity at the same team. I think those are basically the things you're looking for. I think that there's also an element of your character being involved. And I know you jokingly, brought up the Lady Bings, but he was always known as a gentleman. A really nice interview. A guy with kind of a droll sense of humor when you would interview him because his English was not, it's his second or third language. But he still, was a great person to talk to. But I think all those factors. Does it mean that he's just like a great Red Wing in Red Wing history, or is it a guy that he should have his number up in the rafters? And I think if you you hit all those boxes, and my God, I think you kind of change the way young players want to design their own games. He has such a cultural impact. I feel like he deserves that kind of recognition when you look up and you have all those fond memories of that guy. And luckily his career overlaps with YouTube, so you can still go out and watch all the Datsyuk and Deeks get your, much like the Barry Sanders runs. You can get your heart's desire of all those amazing plays. So
speaking of hearts, can't forget 6 seasons, Mike, he got Hart Trophy votes. Those just don't happen by accident. Alongside all the Selkies and the Bings and the All-Star games. Yeah.
I don't know. That made him sound like a Vegas lounge singer. Hey, I got a couple of bada bings. What are you doing?
Let's run through a couple more of these guys before we make them more interesting. Mike, when it comes to the fans picking, first comment we got for the show was Reed Larson. Mike, I can't comment on this at all. I don't feel equipped, but I will give it to, I forgot who mentioned Reed at the start of the show. Maybe it was performance art. You guys keep commenting and it keeps refreshing. Who did it? Antonio threw out Reed Larson. I'll just give it to you. I can't comment on this. I don't know enough about Reed. It would just be me spouting off stats. I have no feelings on Reed. He brought nothing to me. So we'll leave that there. So that one's out of the way. Another easy one, Mike. Hank, definitely captain. I should say 1 cup, and then we have a couple of other awards to throw in there. We've got a Clancy Smythe, and I can't read it because I don't have his profile pulled up, so I can only see the tiny little screen that we're talking on. Maybe you can throw it out there. The all-rookie team. All right. Yeah, there you go. And, of course, coming back to that conversation about getting Hart votes, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons got Hart Trophy votes. And, of course, that's recognition for two-way game and a strong offensive game to boot. Oh, we can sorry about that, Antonio. Boop, there goes your comment. We did get some comments. Chewy's here. Chewy, what is up, my man? He throw it in his call, his vote, 91 and 30. Derek wants to know when 53
I got
and 23
1 second.
Yeah,
keep going, man.
Derek wants to know when 53 and 23 are going up. So I do like Chewy's answer there. 25 to 30 years, definitely. I can't, what do we have? We have a half a season. If I had to say, if we change this conversation to being who's more likely to go up there, can we all agree it's probably going to be 53, right? Doesn't that, you hear Sider talking, doesn't he? He already sounds like a leader. Like there's going to be a letter on his chest someday. And he already looks like, he's done everything he can do to tell us that he's a pro hockey player. He's not going anywhere. And he's going to be involved in all-star games moving forward. He's going to be in conversations with the elite. So, yeah, if I switched it to that conversation while Mike's gone, who would you guys guess out of those two who's going to be in the rafters? That's my guess. But I do like Chewy's answer that it's going to be in 25 to 30 years. Derek throwing out there, miss watching Pav so much. Chewy does agree. 13 and 40 should go up at some point. And Derek Z played the best of defensive shirt in hockey history. Derek, shift. There it is. There's your update. He had the. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're talking about the 5-on-3 for us to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, that should be enough. Like those kind of things. That's where you go down in history. You're a legend for your franchise. Jared coming in hot. Seider gets an A within 2 seasons. Boom. And you got to remember, too, Dylan Larkin's contract's up. So when he leaves us to go play for the Anaheim Ducks and get paid, that's when Seider can take over and take the C. What do you guys think? I'm just kidding. Derek thrown in there. Yeah, 53 for sure, assuming he doesn't ask for, I'm going to say an unfair contract there. Honestly, like you look at something like Dom Luszczyszyn has put together in regards to those new player cards on the Athletic, which are amazing to look at. You see the values of like Tyler Bertuzzi's at like 10 million. Seider's getting up there too. And we're having a conversation right now about losing Sergei Fedorov because he was underpaid. Hey, Mike.
Speaking of losing Sergei Fedorov, you got to lose me because I got to go do a walk around on the siding on my house.
You son of a. All right.
I know. I got to go outside. I'm sorry. You guys heard my thoughts. Retire Fedorov. Get Datsyuk up there. And I'm sorry. McCarty's going up too. I'm sorry. I said it. There.
All right, guys.
You touched our heartstrings.
Yeah, we'll do this. You guys come back for the next episode. That'll be coming up midweek. Mike, you can head out of here. And right. We will reveal the more tough conversations, which I'm not even going to tease. We have a couple of guys that you guys have mentioned in the chat. Maybe one of them is going to be up there. I have one that I think is going to make some of you angry, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I think he's done a lot for the franchise. So, yeah, you guys want to come back on Wednesday for that conversation. Chewy, I'll let Mike know. He's saying bundle up, Buttercup. I hope he stays warm out there, too. And Jared thrown out there. He's healthy. Oh, Jared, you beautiful angel, you. Derek, is this a guess? Number 14? I gotta say, I hate that Nyquist is the only number 14 I can think of right now, but I will tell you it's definitely not Nyquist. What if I told you one of those numbers is correct? And I'll leave you guys at that. Oh no, Derek, you think I mean Nyquist? No way. Oh, I gotcha. Chewy's thrown out there. This is actually a pretty good guess for Shanny. Ooh, I tell you what, guys, I will wrap Shanny into the next episode and we'll talk longer about it. There we go. Jared's got it. Jakob Kindl. That's who I want to bring up next on Wednesday. This is probably my favorite part of this episode is you guys throwing out the guesses. But you guys have inspired me. Derek, Chewy, we're going to be talking about Shanny. We'll throw that in there. That wasn't who I was thinking. So we will start chatting who I am also thinking. We have a couple of guys who've already mentioned in this episode that we haven't talked about yet. Let me see how long this list is. 1, 2. Okay, so yeah, we'll have 3 more guys we can chat about. So podcast listeners, tune in for the next episode. Chewy, last guess is Fabry. Absolutely nailed it. Curtis with the laugh emoji. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry we had to cut this short, but hey, now you have a reason to watch the next episode. Of course, is going to be tied in. Since we're playing Philly, we're going to have to do another hybrid episode of a live watch along plus recording of an episode. So that'll be our topic while we watch along. And like we said earlier, feels like we can get a win against those shit bags, the Flyers. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry we're cutting this short. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend there. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.